Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Yeah, I made it in. No worries. A little bit of traffic. I missed the amigos. This is what I do. I come up 24, and sometimes it's worth the risk to go the extra 20 miles to go around via 840 to 65.
Yeah, it looks promising sometimes.
It's tempting, right? It's tempting.
Yeah, it's the tease. It's like,
and then every time without fail, I make that decision. 6 minutes into that trip down 840, they go, "Yeah, you stupid son of a gun,
you messed up,
you idiot."
What were you thinking?
Instead of being 5 minutes, getting in 5 minutes before the Amigo segment, I get in 20 minutes after. You're rolling dice out there. You're rolling dice, and I don't appreciate all the extra traffic now that school's back in.
Yeah, driving me nuts.
Not a fan. Homeschool your kids.
Yeah, keep them off my roads.
We begin today talking about the Donald Trump, Elon Musk Twitter space yesterday. Elon saying the combined views of the conversation with Trump and subsequent discussion by other accounts now totaling 1 billion views / impressions.
Holy cow.
It's unreal. Between 7:47 and 10:47 Eastern, the post received 73 million views. During the same period, there were 4 million posts about Elon Musk and Trump's conversation on X, generating a total of 998 million views.
Wow.
So if CNN was to tally all of its voters from an entire month, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they would not touch what they did last night. And that's why legacy media is scared. That's why foreign governments are scared. You heard yesterday during the press briefing, they didn't even want this thing to happen. A Washington Post reporter asked Karine Jean-Pierre if there was anything the White House could do to intervene.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's an America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
Oh, it's such a wide thing. How do we prevent people from hearing unfiltered information from the Republican presidential nominee? How Karine, please help us shut this down. Will you please?
Yeah, no, and you've heard us talk about this many times from here about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. Don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too.
Oh yeah, we're mindful of it. We're mindful. Please, Karine, can you please shut it down? It wasn't just the Washington Post and the White House that were concerned. The European Union also wanted to shut this conversation down, to which Elon Musk replied to them with a massive middle finger on the internet, which is amazing. It's amazing. And it was fun to watch and listen. It started out with a bit of a delay and this fire elevator music. I mean, drop those beats. It was a jam. We were jamming in the kitchen. And by we, I mean me and my chocolate lab, Hank.
We were dancing on two paws. And
we were jamming. The vibes were intense. So it ended up happening. And I think that before that, it's important to note that the Trump return to Twitter yesterday was huge. His account, Real Donald Trump, gained over 3 million followers upon his return to Twitter so far. And I also think it's important to point out that while legacy media is trying to destroy these guys for having this conversation, Elon extended the same interview to Kamala Harris. No word on if she'll take that up. No word on if she could do a 2-hour conversation the same way those guys did. And Trump and Elon are heroes. Listen, they're going to say, and the Kamala Harris campaign has said this, oh, it's two rich guys looking out for themselves. But let's be honest here. Yeah, two rich guys, but they've risked everything for freedom. And I'm convinced of this. There's nothing that you can tell me otherwise. Neither Elon nor Donald Trump have to do any of this. They don't have to put their necks on the line. They don't have to risk their wealth, their freedom, and in Trump's case, even their lives for the good of humanity. In fact, the opposite would be far more easy, far more comfortable. And the world is a better place time after time when brave men are unafraid. And these guys were unafraid, and they had this conversation, despite the fact that, as Elon said, there was a DDoS attack, a denial of service, before they even got started. Now, who could do that? Well, the White House was looking into it. The European Union was looking into it. Conspiracy theorists can do conspiracy theorist things. But people didn't want this conversation to happen because these guys are the pebble in the water, and this is going to ripple out. And hopefully we'll see and feel this impact for, generations to come. Hopefully this is the new fireside chat, and we get more of these as time goes on, because you had two guys that just talked. And I loved that. It didn't feel like an interview. It felt like just an organic conversation of two guys kicking around a bunch of topics, having a conversation. The best interview, and this is from a broadcast perspective, the best interviews that I've ever listened to are what feels like a conversation where at any moment the two people could turn to you and say, "What do you think?" And that's what it felt like last night during the Twitter space. That's exactly what it felt like. And again, more people listening last night alone than the number of people that tune into CNN in a month of 24/7 programming. This is why they were scared. They don't want a free-flowing, organic conversation. They don't want that. And they've done everything to stop this. I mean, in Trump's case, they've bankrupted him. They've tried to bankrupt him. They've tried to imprison him. They tried to kill him. Last night, they tried to prevent the public from hearing him. The Washington Post, foreign nations calling for the conversation to be shut down. And with all that being said, the European Union's after this guy. The Washington Post asking Karine Jean-Pierre, what's the White House going to do to stop this? They do all this to Trump, and we're supposed to believe that he's the threat to democracy. And the Kamala campaign was so salty. So salty. They put out a post or an email right as this is going on. And the subject was, the two worst people you know are live this evening. The richest person in the world is a lackey for Team MAGA. Well, the richest person in the world also extended that invite to Kamala Harris. No word yet on if she'll take it. In that email, Harris Waltz said, right now, Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump live on Twitter. We're not calling it X. It's like, I don't want to call it X either. I don't want to agree with you on anything. Now, do I have to take the other side? Luckily, in a tweet later on, they did refer to it as X, so we can keep calling it Twitter. They said it's not enough that Musk has pledged to donate millions of dollars to help reelect Trump. He's using his purchased platform, one of the largest social media sites in the world, to spread Trump's unhinged and hateful agenda to millions of users. Please donate money now. That was the gist of their email. Now, this hateful, unhinged agenda only garnered the Kamala Harris campaign one clip that they could use on Twitter, and it was about shutting down the Department of Education. I posted a tweet at Chris Hand on air and said, I'm already voting for the guy. You don't have to sell me. You don't have to sell us on it. We understand that you guys want to indoctrinate our kids, and Donald Trump wants to send that back to the states, so you don't have to sell us. You don't have to sell us on it. But I thought the conversation was fantastic. And if you have time, I suggest that you go and listen to it. Please. It's 2 hours, and even the close, it was like when you're trying to leave a house party and your goodbye lasts 20 minutes, that was the close of the interview. But it started with them talking about the assassination attempt. And Trump giving his take on the assassination attempt and saying, for those people that don't believe in God, I think we've all got to start thinking about that. I'm a believer. Now I'm more of a believer, I think.
Well, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire. And so that's, a big, part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant.
Not pleasant, he says. And yeah, Elon laying out the fact that that's exactly why he went all in and endorsed Donald Trump. I think it was moments after all of this happened that Elon was on Twitter saying, that's it. I'm Team Trump.
Have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle. And, it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. You know, I was telling somebody you have instances like this or like a lot less than this where you feel it's a surreal situation. And I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah. And
because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, bullets, bullets, get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter. And so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was, for those people that don't believe in God, I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer. Now I'm more of a believer, I think. And a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually.
And I think everybody looked at what happened to Donald Trump on that day in Butler, Pennsylvania, and said, yes, that was an act of God. It was an absolute miracle. How do you call it anything but divine intervention? Donald Trump acknowledging that. One thing that I want to point out is it's been a month. The mainstream media doesn't want to show you the picture with his fist in the air. They don't want to show you the pictures with blood streaming down his face. They've actually done a pretty effective job of memory holing the assassination attempt. To their credit, they don't want to talk about it, and they've gotten away from it. But to Donald Trump's credit, I'm hearing that the Butler, Pennsylvania rally that he is planning is going to be held towards the end of October. So one of the last things that they're going to do on the campaign trail is remind the American public of what happened that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. And everybody needs to remember that as we head towards November 5th. Donald Trump is going to do his darndest to make sure everybody does remember that. There was a lot to get to in this conversation with Elon Musk. One of the things that he did say about the assassination attempt was illegal immigration saved his life.
Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this, maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
that slide. That slide saved your life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but
illegal immigration saved my life. This is one of the things that they don't want you to do. They don't want you to listen to this. They don't want you to hear how humanized both of these individuals are, how organic and free-flowing this conversation was, and they want you to forget about this as quickly as they can. In fact, they're going to bury this. They're going to talk about how it's two rich guys trying to put their thumbs on the scale of the election, but, we've seen the Democrat machine. We've seen what makes them cheer, so their boos mean nothing. Even last night on Twitter, I was getting drive-bys from random liberals who were telling me that the assassination attempt was all fake, and I'm an idiot for believing in it. Honestly, this happened. they don't want you to listen to this, so I suggest you do. If you didn't catch the Twitter space, we're going to have a lot more clips for you on the way. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
U.S. wholesale inflation. We have the new numbers coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. All right, so I just started with Mason off the air. We're gonna start a new segment on Fridays. We're gonna call it Text of the Week, and it's inspired by my friend Ricky, 8270. This is the early contender. I know it's only Tuesday. This is the early contender for text of the week, okay?
It should be up there for sure.
I don't know if it's going to be topped. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
It's a hard one.
We might have to close the first week down now.
Yeah.
But from now on Fridays, we're going to do text of the week, and the early contender is from Ricky. He sent me a text and he said, "Sorry, Chris, it was me. I was rear-ended on 840 and caused you to be late to work. But if it helps anything, I am going to be extremely late for work." To which I said, "That was you?" So, oh my gosh, are you good? Ricky, you good? And he said, "Yeah, the people in front of me slammed on their brakes, and so did I, but the guy behind hit me. And then the next guy hit him and slammed him into me again, so I got hit twice, really."
Holy cow.
Yep, so.
Bill him.
Bill him, Ricky.
Bill him. Get that chiropractic.
Oh,
you need. It's like have a nice day of it.
My neck.
My neck.
All right. Well, Ricky says he's doing paperwork. So glad you're okay, Ricky. Don't worry about making me late to work. You're an early contender for a new segment we're going to do on Fridays. Text of the week. Easily early contender. Conversation of the week. I don't think this is going to be top. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Twitter Spaces last night. Over a billion impressions, almost a billion impressions, Elon is on Twitter saying, between views and listens and subsequent conversations. It was massive. And the mainstream media is doing everything they can today to downplay it and demonize it, because that's what the mainstream media does. They don't want you to hear unfiltered conversation between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Luckily for you, we don't really care much for the mainstream media, and we want you to hear the unfiltered conversation between President Trump and Elon Musk, like this portion where they're talking about the cost of energy and how it has to come down.
Bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now, your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product, I have to say. I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won, the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. Yeah. And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything.
It's funny about AI, he brings that up. A lot of Wall Street investors are actually wondering how they're going to be able to even make money off of AI and are abandoning that ship. But it's cool to hear these two guys talk about that. And Kamala Harris has promised, don't worry, day one, she'll fix everything. And she makes those promises while she's still in office. Strange, but that's what she does. It's 9:31 on Super Talk. On the way, we got more from this Trump-Elon conversation that happened last night. Right now, Ken Weaver in the news.
$9:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes, and this is scary. News 2 says Metro Police arrested a man they say was following people around last night with a machete. It was just before 8:30 in a parking lot at the intersection of Murfreesboro Pike and Thompson Lane. They took 43-year-old David Cole, who was sweating profusely, holding a machete, into custody. Money news, wholesale price increases in the United States eased in July, suggesting that inflation pressures are further cooling as the Federal Reserve moves closer to cutting interest rates, likely beginning next month. And firefighters in Nashville working to determine what caused the fire this morning in a furniture store on Dickerson Pike. Crews sent there around 5 o'clock this morning said they saw smoke and flames coming from the building. A lot of broken glass from the business on the ground. The fire was put out. No injuries were reported, but the cause under investigation. As the latest news, weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Minutes of
It's 9:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The media in full meltdown over Elon Musk and Donald Trump having a conversation. We can't let them get away with it. Orange man bad, all the things. There's a wall of negative headlines, says Elon Musk. Put it on Twitter himself just 1 minute ago. He said they're so predictable. They're such NPCs. They are NPC, non-player character. You're programmed to do what you're programmed to do. Classic. But CNN this morning, I mean, this is what, maybe 30-ish minutes ago, just doing whatever they can to knock down what was a great conversation. This is CNN this morning.
Began with 40 minutes of silence and then a bropocalypse of politics. No matter how you frame it or what caused the glitch, what was finally said between Donald Trump and Elon Musk at last night's Big X event can largely be defined as a rant filled with familiar lies and lines of attack.
A bropocalypse of politics? I'm already voting for the guy. You don't have to sell me. It was a familiar rant-filled discussion with familiar lines of attack, says CNN. Okay, cool. But they don't attack anything that he's actually saying, and the wall of negative headlines are there. It's fun to watch. USA Today: Trump rambles, slurs his way through Elon Musk interview. It was an unmitigated disaster. Newsweek: Donald Trump's lisp during Elon Musk interview raises questions. The Guardian: so Donald chatted with Elon, and here's the future as they see it. Losers win, incompetence rules. We could go on and on and on. The New York Times: Musk's Trump talk on X after glitchy start, a 2-hour ramble. It wasn't a ramble, it was a free-flowing conversation. The Guardian also had another one: familiar vitriol. And Musk the enabler. Key takeaways from Trump's X interview. CBS: Donald Trump's meandering live chat with Elon Musk on X plagued with glitches. The Financial Times: Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a tale of two struggling social media entrepreneurs. CNN: like watching grumpy old men. Columnist on X conversation with Musk. MSNBC: at least he's consistent. Brian Tyler Cohen on Elon Musk's failed X interview with Donald Trump. You tell me how this is a failed interview when you're almost reaching 1 billion impressions and views. It's dominating the conversation today. No matter how you want to frame it, it's dominating the conversation, as it should. You had two guys, as CNN put it was a bropocalypse of politics. They were just broing down, and you loved it. I loved it. Trump and Elon talked about everything from energy to war to illegal immigration to Kamala Harris's copycat style of policy when it comes to no tax on tips.
Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. Yep. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake.
Yeah, these people are fake. This is why the mainstream media doesn't want you to listen to this. They'd rather you get the information from them. As far as the no tax on tips goes, did you see what was circulating the internet last night? 2 separate CBS tweets. The first that was showed was the tweet on Kamala Harris, no tax on tips. It says, Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position, saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. Okay, pretty fair. That doesn't seem like too glowing of a review, right? But the one on Trump, when he announced no tax on tips. CBS, the same news organization, said former President Donald Trump's vow to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group. Well, I think the only thing we can say for sure is that CBS is not nonpartisan. CBS News, where you see BS News. This is exactly why they want you to listen to them and not listen to Donald Trump and get the information from him. They want to be able to twist it and spin it and lie to you because they think you're stupid. And let's be perfectly honest, a majority of the Democrat base is just that, stupid. Please don't listen to the Donald Trump Elon Musk interview. It was glitchy and they rambled. It was full of lies, says the mainstream media. Listen to us. Listen to us. We're much more honest, I promise, says every Mockingbird media news outlet out there. Classic. You know, they don't want you to hear it from Trump's mouth. They just don't. They don't. They'd rather they want to tell you how good things are. And Trump talks about the economy under Biden-Harris. And let's be honest, under Biden-Harris, it's really been Harris because Biden's been in cognitive decline since he took office, but he goes after the economy.
But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation has eaten you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle-income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think raise your hand if you can relate. Raise your hand if you can relate. I know you can. I can relate. We can all relate. Actually, right now, there's a new poll out, Financial Times. Only 1 in 4 voters rate the economy as excellent or good under a Biden-Harris administration. Insurance costs are up 15% in the first half of 2024. 59% of Americans believe we're in a recession. I think that the core issues of this presidential race are going to remain the same. The economy is terrible. Who do you trust more? The border is awful. Who do you trust more? Our foreign policy is disastrous. We're on the brink of World War III. Who do you trust more? And I think when we get down to it, when we get down to the wire, the majority of independents and moderates are going to really go, yeah, we're voting Trump. Because we've lost the radical left. We're not going to win them over. It's the middle that we're going to get. And an interview like this with a guy like Elon Musk terrifies the establishment so much because it's targeting the middle. And you had two guys. At one point, Elon Musk described himself as essentially moderate to liberal and even said, for most of my life, I've been a Democrat. A lot of people feel that way. And a lot of people feel this, that Donald Trump said. Kamala Harris is more incompetent than Biden.
We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
And that's saying something because he's not too good. They'll say Donald Trump was lisping and whatever. Who cares? Some people are saying that's because of compression rates during the Twitter space. I don't even really care. He can lisp all he wants. He could chug a 12-pack of Diet Coke mid-interview. It doesn't matter to me. What the meat of what he's saying is absolutely true. You've had 3.5 years to do something about it. You got 5 more months to do something about it. I don't want to hear about your promises for day one. Kamala Harris is more incompetent than Joe Biden, and that's saying something. That is saying something. One of the things that they've really sunk their teeth into is Donald Trump saying he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. And I played a clip yesterday from a woman at a Harris rally. I believe it was in Arizona. Could have been Nevada. I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but it was over the weekend. And she's like, I'm a teacher, and I knew getting into this industry that teaching was the biggest instrument of societal change. The communists understand you got to attack the kids. You have to. If you want to be able to change the trajectory of a country, you have to capture the children first. It is a tale as old as time when it comes to these commies. And so Donald Trump says, I want to get rid of the Department of Education and move it back to the states. And this has the Harris campaign completely up in arms.
Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So
here's the thing. He's telling you the exact truth. The Kamala Harris campaign clipped this and got it down to a 10-second clip without any of the context. We do. We spend more money educating kids in this country than anywhere else in the world. Anywhere else in the world. I think in Baltimore, it's something like $17,000 per kid per year. Was the last time I read the stats. Probably gone up because, under a Biden-Harris economy, everything's gone up. But they don't give you the context. And he says, we spend more than any other country in the world.
We spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education.
That's where they ended. I want to close up the Department of Education. Boom, clipped. That's where the Kamala Harris campaign ends it. We'll give you the actual context, though.
Education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education.
Nope.
But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. They're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
Yeah, the context is everything. And by giving the education back to the states, you're going to create that competition and create that open marketplace. But they don't want you to hear the context of the conversation. They want you to hear Orange Man bad. Here's a 10-second clip without the context. That's mainstream media for you. That's why they don't want you listening to this in its entirety. I suggest you do. We'll have more from this interview between Trump and Elon Musk on the way. It's 9:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A Fort Campbell soldier due in court today. Coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're covering this conversation that happened last night between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I call it a conversation because I don't think it felt like an interview. It felt like two guys sitting down and just hashing things out. And I loved it. I said a little while ago, the best interviews as like a broadcaster, as like a nerd that's in this field, is when two guys are doing an interview and at any moment you feel like they could turn to you and say, what do you think? And I felt that way the entire night last night. A lot of people bringing up Donald Trump's lisp or slurring. I didn't hear it during the initial interview. I hear it now as we're playing the clips back, and I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, it just sounds, I mean, the information is coming across perfectly fine. He seems pretty coherent to me.
A lot of people said maybe it's audio servers and compression, and
that would be my guess, yeah.
I have no idea.
I was like, to be honest, Twitter has never been the perfect platform for live streaming audio for like that, but with Elon in charge, I think it's gotten a lot better than what it was for sure.
And speaking of Elon, he's calling out the NPCs in mainstream media, the non-player characters. He said a wall of negative headlines, so predictable. They're such NPCs. All this does is drive even more people to listen to the conversation themselves and realize how much legacy media lies to them. Listen, if you want to see the wall of headlines, the absolute wall, it's like, what's that? 24 different headlines, everybody saying predictably the same thing. It was terrible. You should check it out on my Twitter, at Chris Hand on Air. I got it up there for you. Hit the follow button while you're there. I will follow back. On the way, we got a lot more from this Elon-Donald Trump conversation. It went on for about 2 hours, and I'll bring you the latest clips, the best clips, all the best clips, as Trump would say. They were all great. They were all fantastic, but we'll bring you the best ones after Ken Weaver's newscast, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in Tennessee, we're waiting to see if a Fort Campbell soldier pleads guilty today. News Channel 5 says Corbin Schultz is expected in court today to answer allegations. He sold U.S. government secrets for $42,000 to someone claiming to be from China, or at least he wanted to. This involved documents, writings, plans, maps, notes, and photographs that Schultz, according to authorities, knew could be used to injure the United States or used to the advantage of a foreign nation. Middle East tensions. Israel and U.S. officials think an attack on Israel by Iran comes by Thursday. Here's Jordana Miller.
Iran rejecting calls by the UK, France, and Germany to refrain from retaliatory strikes on Israel, saying that would defy, quote, political logic. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman signaling Tehran will attack, calling the Israeli killing of a top Hamas leader in Tehran a violation of Iran's sovereignty. Israeli and U.S. intel indicate Iran could strike Israel directly as soon as this week, but the scope of the attack remains unclear. The Israeli army on its highest level of alert.
Back here in Tennessee, news about your kids' education. The State Board of Education asking parents and teachers to take a survey to help shape future curriculum and TCAP tests. This survey's online right now. It could directly impact what topics make it on the tests starting in the 2029-2030 school year. We put a link to the survey on our socials. And Channel 4 says there's some confusion among Tennessee school nurses. They fear they could lose their license and be fired over what they can and cannot do when there is an emergency involving a student under the Families' Rights and Responsibilities Act that took effect in July. Professional Educators of Tennessee Executive Director J.C. Bowman telling Channel 4.
I do think you're going to see more teachers rethink whether they want to stay in this profession. And we could have avoided all of this if we had gotten guidance from the Department of Education on the front end of this.
Well, Channel 4 says the Department of Education has not committed to issuing guidance. Governor Lee says he's open to changes to the law if needed. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Well, if you watch the mainstream media today, they're going to tell you that the Elon Musk Donald Trump interview was a rambling, incoherent, glitch-filled mess because they don't want you to listen to it for yourself. They think you're too dumb to be able to absorb information and form your own opinion. We don't believe that. You know, Kamala Harris and her campaign are so upset. They're so upset. And I said last night, I tweeted at Kamala, tweeted at her campaign, tweeted at the Veep account. Well, why don't you just call a live streamer and do this yourself? And it's like, oh, that's right. That's right. Live streamers all over the country turn you down every opportunity they get.
They don't want you.
Kai Sanat, big live streamer, said, tell the Secret Service, stop calling my bleeping phone. And more comes out. This entire campaign is gaslighting and lies. There's another video circulating the internet. Kamala Harris campaign trying to hide their paying influencers to gaslight you that she's popular. One TikTok influencer, Lauren Machin, I don't do the TikTok. Get off my lawn. But she's exposing the Harris campaign for trying to make her sign an NDA to get paid to support Kamala Harris.
My entire For You page right now is presidential stuff and the campaigns being AI and what to believe and what not to believe. Just the other day, I received an email for a paid promotion, for me to make a video and post it on TikTok talking about the Democratic side. At the end of this email, it says, if you want to get things going, we'll send over an NDA for you to sign and we'll get started. I know a lot of people get their views and their opinions and their beliefs based off of what their favorite influencers are saying. Just know, they might have been paid to say the things they're saying.
Yeah, just know that. They might have been paid. You know, another thing that's interesting to note is those large packed rallies from Kamala Harris. There's a group called happydemocrats.org. And they're posting on Craigslist in the areas where they're having rallies, positions for paid rally attendance. $225 an event. $225. I mean, hey, that's good coin in this economy, right? I'm not knocking you for doing that. I might sit through a Kamala Harris rally if they're going to pay me $225. Wouldn't you? Maybe not. Maybe not. I'd probably interrupt her. Would you get the check also if you interrupted at the same time? Maybe. And then our friend Savannah Hernandez, friend of the show, fantastic investigative journalist. She found a Latino political organization offering $1,000 to voters who will publicly endorse Kamala Harris. Voto Latino is an organization that targets Latinx voters. Are they still trying to make the Latinx thing happen? Latinx, Latinx, Latwinks? I don't know what you want. They put an ad out on Craigslist offering to pay Latino swing voters up to $1,000 if they join their social media campaign and publicly endorse Kamala Harris. The org is looking for former Latino Trump supporters that are now going to be voting for Kamala and is offering a $100 bonus for an initial interview and up to $1,000 if voters are willing to publicly share that they previously voted for Trump but are now voting for Kamala. I just being real, I can't imagine a Latino voter voting for Trump and now being like, things have changed. I'm going for Kamala Harris now. Saying all that to say they don't want you to form your own opinion. They want to form your opinion for you. They don't want you to listen to the Donald Trump Twitter space. They don't. They don't want you to listen to Donald Trump talking about the coup that was taking place on Joe Biden.
Mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history, and one of the
I'm no fan of this guy. He's a horrible president. I do think Donald Trump does feel a little empathy for Joe Biden. And how can you not, after what his family's put him through? This poor, doddering old man with memory issues that should just be on the beach, hanging out with at least 6 of his 7 grandkids, because we know he doesn't acknowledge that last one. But, go do your thing, man. Go relax. But his comments about Kamala Harris not doing an interview couldn't be more true. They wrote this amazing article in Time magazine. They did this sweet painted picture of Kamala on the cover. The headline reads, "Her moment." And they asked Kamala, would you like to be involved in this interview? It's a puff piece. It's softballs. And her campaign denied a request for an interview with Time magazine with a puff piece. They denied it. Hey, to their credit, the Democrat Party is playing to their strengths, and speaking without a teleprompter for Kamala Harris is not one of her strengths. That can't be said about Donald Trump. He was willing to speak about everything and anything last night on the Twitter space with Elon Musk. They went on for over 2 hours, and President Trump talked about his last week in office and illegal immigration, and said, the chart that saved his life when he turned his head to look at it was very important.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart. But that was the lowest point ever recorded. It was a really, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Homan and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had.
This is why they don't want you to listen to this, because there's actual facts and information here. People actually back up Donald Trump in what he's saying. And they'd rather tell you that it was those gosh darn Republicans that squashed the bipartisan border bill that would have just allowed more people to enter our country illegally. It was those evil Republicans. They'd rather you pay attention to the narrative they're crafting as opposed to the information. So please, by any means necessary, avoid the orange man and the African man's interview. Please.
So many different checks. Catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes, and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that. But they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart.
I'll be sleeping with that chart. He's referencing the chart that he turned his head to look at when the bullet whizzed by and clipped his ear. I would frame that chart myself. But they don't want you to hear this stuff directly from Donald Trump. At one point, he's talking about Putin and the conversation that they had about him taking Ukraine.
And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way.
He's talking about the conversation where allegedly Donald Trump said, if you take Ukraine, I'm going to nuke Moscow. That was the thing about Donald Trump. He had this air of unpredictability around him that scared our enemies all over the world.
And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation.
I said, don't do it. You know what I'll do. He said, no way. I said, way. I believe every word of that. I said, way.
That's so good.
I can imagine that happening. Like it seems like that's exactly how it went down.
Sorry, can you play that one more time?
I said, don't do it. I told him what I'd do. He said, no way. I said, way.
And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way.
That's so good. So good.
It's so good. And then meanwhile, as this conversation's going on, the Kamala campaign attacked Trump and Musk as the worst people she can think of. She attacks Musk for letting too much free speech on social media. The European Union up in arms that they would have such a conversation. These are the same people that are so worried about democracy. They're so terrified about democracy. Please don't listen to this interview. Please. By any means necessary, we can't let you listen to this interview. And why? Well, because Trump honestly addresses a number of things. From foreign policy to the border to the lawfare that's been waged against him.
Lawfare, I think, we need to be concerned about.
What they've done to this country.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use the local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani, and it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare, It's a terrible thing and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this where I can talk about it and people understand.
He's exactly right. You can have a conversation like this and you can explain it and people understand. And this is why the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear this. It's dangerous. Not to you, not to the country, to them and to their power. They don't want you to hear this directly from Donald Trump's mouth. They'd rather you be listening to Adam Kinzinger, who's on CNN right now. Ooh, we got a Republican and he doesn't like Trump. See? Adam Kinzinger. Have you seen what's happening with Adam Kinzinger, by the way? What Little Pump has been saying on Twitter? You know Little Pump, the rapper?
No way.
All right, well, I guess that's a conversation for a different day. You can do your own dig on that.
Sorry. I heard that audio and I was like, I need a hotkey for this. So I'm working hard for it.
Yeah, the stuff with Adam Kinzinger, apparently he had a profile on some sort of site.
Oh.
And posted some inappropriate pictures of himself. Allegedly. Do your own dig. It's a conversation for another day.
I actually don't know if I want to.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. Definitely don't do it on a work computer.
Yeah, we'll get flagged.
You fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens is when after their political opponent, me, now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion.
Yeah, Biden is close to vegetable stage. At the end of this, I saw after we're watching, there's a lot of tweets coming in, a lot of commentary, and there was one tweet that stood out to me. It said, Joe Biden last night was in a state of dementia-induced stupor. Kamala Harris was hiding behind a cabal of journalists. And Donald Trump is talking about nuclear war and education reform while drinking a Diet Coke and winking at Melania. That's the choice, folks. That's the choice. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Call the ginger.
The University of Tennessee has a new branding deal with Pilot. We'll give you some of the details coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 1024 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. We've been really digging into this interview that the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. They'd rather you listen to them. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, last night on Twitter. I say interview, I keep going back to it. It was more of a conversation, which is how it should be. A couple people on the text line wondering what's up with Donald Trump's voice, the slurring. I don't know.
I was like, yeah, I've seen a lot of comments on it, and I think they're right. I think it's the compression on the audio, just because Twitter's format is like, you can have those long conversations like that, but it's going to tighten
weird though,
down
because I didn't hear it in real time while I was listening.
What were you listening on though?
I was listening on my phone.
That might be why though, because your phone like speakers probably aren't as up to like
snuff.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, phone speakers have come a long way, but like if you're listening in your car where it's like heavy surrounding you, it'll be a little different unless you had like headphones on, I'm assuming.
I mean, maybe that's the case. Either way, I don't know. I don't really care about the slurring. I saw one text, 4988, said, "Why does Trump sound like Daffy Duck?" Suffer and succotash. I have no idea. I don't
Kamala,
really care.
you're despicable.
I think, that's Mockingbird Media, CNN, MSDNC, CBS, ABC, all these losers want us to focus on the slurring. They don't want you to focus on the meat of the actual conversation. Did 1844 on the members nutrition text line said both voices sounded slurred? Did Elon sound a little slurred too?
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, you could hear a little. Yeah, it's probably just the audio quality.
But
because it's definitely not Trump, because he was firing off.
Yeah, they would much rather you focus on the slur as opposed to the content of what he was talking about, because the content of what he was talking about was on point the entire night. When he's talking about how Biden and Harris shut down the Keystone XL pipeline and then approved the Russian pipeline and dismantled American energy and our energy independence that we had during the Trump administration. Oh, hold on one second. This is him talking about the Keystone pipeline and Biden shutting it down.
I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers. Shuts it down. That was a massive job that Obama refused to allow. I allowed it in my first week, because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way.
The differences between Trump's policies and Biden-Harris policies couldn't be more apparent when you listen to this interview. Also, am I mistaken? Wasn't the Nord Stream pipeline blown up and they tried to blame it on Russia doing it during the Biden administration? We have these relationships with our adversaries, and Trump managed them much more effectively than Joe Biden ever could have, much more effectively than Kamala Harris ever could have. But they say that Trump is a danger to the country and a threat to American democracy. Miss me with that.
Underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline. He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Who's the friend of Russia, right? Russia, Russia, Russia. You know, it's hoax after hoax when it comes to the Democrat Party and the mainstream media, and they don't want you to hear it directly from Trump and Elon, so they're going to demonize it all day today. I hope that they do something like this again. I hope they do it again and again and again, because hearing it directly from Trump, hearing it directly from Elon, it's a big difference than hearing it through the filtered lens of the Democrat arm of the mainstream media. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looking at some rain by the end of the week. Tell you about it during the full forecast in 2 minutes. Got a new warning for people who drive Ford vehicles related to Takata airbags. Ford now ordering owners of several popular cars and trucks, including the Mustang, Fusion, and Ranger, to not drive their cars and to visit a dealer immediately. The University of Tennessee has a new branding deal with Pilot. The names will stay the same for Neyland Stadium and Shields-Watkins Field, but expect to see new signage with Pilot's logo starting during the upcoming 2024 football season and then throughout UT Athletics and the Vol Network. Money news, wholesale price increases in the United States eased in July. Labor Department reported its producer price index, which tracks inflation before it reaches consumers, rose 0.1% from June to July, down from a 0.2% rise a month earlier. And compared with a year earlier, prices were up 2.2% in July. That was the smallest such rise since March and was down from a 2.7% year-over-year increase in June. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It's 10:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. What did you think of the Donald Trump, Elon Musk interview last night? 615-737-9986. What's Kamala Harris doing today? Is she doing anything? Her spokesperson, Adrian Elrod, was on CNN earlier and gave an update on the schedule.
What's on the vice president's schedule today?
Well, she's traveling and talking to voters and getting her message out there to the American people, something that she's been doing from the very start of this campaign and something that she certainly did when she was President Biden's running mate as vice president. But look, you just mentioned the speech she's going to be giving in
I was asking about today, and I don't think she's got any campaign events on the schedule today, does she?
Well, she and Governor Walz have been traveling across the country. They hit nearly every battleground state last week. On the campaign trail, they raised $36 million within the first 24 hours.
Yeah, no, he meant specifically today. CNN actually calling out their campaign spokeswoman, Adrian Elrod. Well, she's getting her message out there. Well, not effectively. Not effectively. She's actually paying people to help her get the message out there, as evidenced by TikTok influencers exposing her and the NDAs she's asking them to sign. The mainstream media is doing their best to counter-program the Donald Trump, Elon Musk interview. But the funny thing is people don't believe in the mainstream media anymore. As evident from last night, Caitlin Collins of CNN was on the Colbert Show. What is it called? Is it Colbert Tonight? I always want to call it the Colbert Report because that's what it used to be on Comedy Central. Whatever, Stephen Colbert's show where they do the dancing vaccines and all the things, right? Caitlin Collins was on there, and she said, Stephen said, I know you guys are objective over there at CNN, and Caitlin Collins says, is that supposed to be a laugh line?
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. No, I know. CNN makes I know
that's supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
Yeah, I guess it is. Caitlin Collins said Trump doesn't know how to go after Kamala Harris. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's actually very easy to go after Kamala Harris. She's a chameleon. Depending on which crowd she's in, she puts on a new accent. She's terrible on the border. She hasn't helped the economy. She's ripping off Trump's policies in real time. It's very easy for Donald Trump to go after Kamala Harris, and he did so last night on the Twitter space with Elon Musk.
But, with all of that being said, to me, that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame.
Oh, he doesn't know how to go after Kamala Harris, says Caitlin Collins on the Colbert Tonight show. Does anybody watch Colbert Tonight? I wonder what the ratings are. I can guarantee you that the amount of views Trump and Elon got last night trounced anything Colbert can do. Oh, they don't know how to attack her. What can't we attack her on? Every policy that they have put forward for the Biden-Harris administration, the regime, has failed.
And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discuss the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview.
And to be fair, Elon Musk on Twitter said he extended the exact same invitation to Kamala Harris. No word yet on if she'll take it. Doubtful. Press X for doubt. She turned down a puff piece interview with Time magazine. They understand her strengths. And her strength is reading off a teleprompter. You get her off script, and calamity will ensue.
And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty
Yes,
scary.
absolutely.
But the big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah.
And as much as
Yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live.
He's absolutely right. But, as Caitlin Collins of CNN says on Stephen Colbert's show last night, he doesn't know how to attack Kamala Harris. How does he attack someone of a different gender and a different race? Well, he can attack her plainly on policy. He doesn't know how to go after Kamala Harris, guys. Oh, that's interesting because I think he did actually a pretty effective job of it last night. Now, whether it's the border, foreign policy, inflation, there's a myriad of things that you can go after Kamala Harris for.
And our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
That's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. Yeah. And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day.
It is. It's happening every day under a Biden-Harris regime. And speaking of Harris, This audio has been going around of Kamala Harris at a rally. Do you know what she wants to do with those detention facilities where they have a lot of these illegal aliens housed currently because they broke into our country? Well, I'll let you listen to Kamala Harris.
Hi, my name is Sally Hartman. I'm a volunteer with the Center for Worker Justice. Okay. I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
Did you hear that? Would you be willing to close the immigration detention centers? And Kamala Harris says absolutely on day one. Well, if you really believe in it, you're in power now, so do it now. And, maybe she's stealing another Trump policy and she just didn't get to it. Maybe she's going to close them because she's going to do the mass deportations because stealing Trump policies is apparently the only policies that she has currently. But I doubt it. Will you close the migrant detention centers?
Would you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
On day one. Wow. This is why she can't get off teleprompter. Her aides were probably ripping out their hair in the back. Why did we let her answer that question? Why? And crime is up everywhere. Axios did a crime report, and they were like, violent crime's dropping in major cities, and then they didn't include any data from New York City. Very, very convenient. The Dominican parade got shut down the other day due to violence and stabbings. That was what Donald Trump was alluding to in the clip with Elon. Crime is down everywhere, they say, under Biden-Harris, except, except Atlanta, Charlotte, Minneapolis, Omaha, Raleigh. Homicides are actually on the rise in those cities. And we know that the FBI isn't taking a lot of that crime data, and cities aren't sending it to the FBI. I saw a report from Fox 17 right here in Nashville. A violent crimes report. Fox 17 said, and I quote, "Not all cities saw drops in violent crime the first half of this year. According to the report, Nashville reported 325 rapes compared to 267 during the same period last year. It's up. It's up. And it's the Democrats to blame. And you also have this Soros machine working in the background. MRC Free Speech, if you have never gone to the website, it's mrcfreespeechamerica.org, Media Research Center. They had a fantastic article on George Soros and his son Alex and how they're working to undermine law and order in America. The Media Research Center obtained thousands of never-before-seen internal communications from dozens of Soros prosecutors in response to public records requests. And the documents reveal how the Soros machine effectively employs an army of radicalized government lawyers to tear apart the justice system. The result is our crumbling legal system, where laws are openly defied by the very people who are paid to enforce them. They had over 7,000 pages of internal communications from dozens of Soros-backed prosecutors. Dozens of them. Soros invested at least $117 million to install, direct, and control 126 radicalized prosecutors. The Soros empire spent at least $40 million to elect those prosecutors. It then invested another $77+ million to 20 leftist nonprofits to coordinate and control these prosecutors, bringing the total Soros spending to at least $117 million. At least. And the Soroses are now America's top cops, according to MRC. At least 30% of the U.S. population currently lives under the boot of a Soros prosecutor who were pressured to sign pledges vowing to adhere to various Soros priorities. The Soros machine orchestrated 33 of these joint statements and pledges, which were signed by 123 of the 126 Soros prosecutors. And this Soros machine is setting the policies and priorities, including colluding to break the law, according to MRC. But you know about Soros, and are we going to rein that in? Not with Kamala Harris. She wants to empty the detention facilities at the border.
Would you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
On day one. You're in power now. Do it now. Seriously. It's chaotic. But that's Kamala Harris for you. That's Kamala Harris for you. And they discussed a lot of this last night on that Twitter space. If you missed any of the interview, you can catch the whole thing. It's on my Twitter account, @ChrisHandOnAir. You can go to @RealDonaldTrump, @997 WTN. It's all over the place. Millions upon millions of people are listening to this, and they're getting authentic, real information from the source, as opposed to getting it filtered through a leftist worldview on mainstream media publications. Because that's all we get from the mainstream media. Legacy media is effectively dead. And last night's interview with Elon Musk proved it. It proved it. I'm grateful for Elon Musk and what he's done for this country by purchasing Twitter. We can't have a repeat of 2020. We can't. And I don't think we're going to, because the censorship of information that happened in 2020 is not going to happen now. Elon being threatened by the European Union. You had a Washington Post reporter asking Karine Jean-Pierre, can the White House do anything to shut this down and stop the misinformation and disinformation? Everybody wanted to stop this. There was a DDoS attack at the beginning of the interview because they didn't want you to hear it from Trump and Elon. But we heard it. We heard it. We heard about Kamala's open border policies directly from Donald Trump.
And our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
That's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale. Yeah. You know, it was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives.
And Kamala Harris wants you to call them newcomers. It's 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You know the guys at Busy Bee. They are the best when it comes to maintaining your HVAC system. It's that time of year. It's hot. If your AC isn't working the way it should be, you're feeling it. Now, you got to get it fixed. Maybe you can skate by with that annual maintenance. Maybe you've been putting it off. To be totally honest with you, I put mine off, and then I had a problem pop up. Don't be like me. Get your AC maintained by Busy Bee, and then you won't have that problem pop up. Maybe you need to get something fixed. Maybe you need to replace your AC unit. Well, whatever the case may be, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If you do need to replace your system, you won't find a better value. Busy Bee offers up to 12 months with no payment, no interest, with approved credit. They're your Rude Pro partner, and now through the end of August, they're offering buy one, get one on the Beehive Club membership for a teacher, faculty member, or coach in your student's life. Some kids are bringing apples. You can bring a Beehive Club membership and get yourself one. It's only $99, and it comes with so much value. Those annual tune-ups for your heating, cooling, and plumbing systems, 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service. When I had my issue pop up with my AC, they were at my home in less than an hour because I'm a Beehive Club member. And you also get a $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000 and no overtime or holiday fees. Call Busy Bee today for satisfaction guaranteed. It's always Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Online at busybeehvac.com.
Ford has issued a do not drive order related to Takata airbags. Details at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. There was other stuff going on yesterday besides the Donald Trump Twitter space with Elon. Dan Goldman got absolutely owned by Brett Baier on Fox News. Did you see this? Dan Goldman went on Fox News and tried to say that Donald Trump is afraid of debating Kamala Harris.
If I'm Donald Trump, I understand why he doesn't want to debate.
Except he agreed to them, and he agreed to more than one.
If I'm Donald Trump, I understand why he doesn't want to debate. Kamala Harris is
he's accepted
former
3.
prosecutor.
He said yes to September 4th. September 10th, September 17th. He said yes to a lot of them. So it's not that he's obviously afraid to debate.
No. So no. He had agreed to September 10th. Well, on ABC.
With Biden, who got pushed out.
Yeah, it was a coup. It was a coup. I love Brett Baier here. Brett Baier's like, no. He agreed to 3. He agreed to 3.
Well, on ABC.
With Biden, who got pushed out.
What's the difference? Why should he not debate whoever the candidate is on September 10th as he agreed to? What is the difference between candidate Biden and candidate Harris?
He said he would do it. I'm just saying he's also agreed to other debates. You said he hasn't agreed to others. He has. It's the Kamala Harris campaign that hasn't agreed on the other side.
Yep, exactly. I'm looking forward to the debate on September 10th. I think we're going to see a massive momentum change. And I think we're already witnessing the momentum change. The Kamala Harris honeymoon is dead. It's over. And she won't even give an interview. Karine Jean-Pierre said there's no daylight between Biden and Harris. Yeah, we tend to agree. I'll bring you what KJP said during the press conference yesterday on the way after Ken Weaver's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Obviously.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. And right now there is an urgent message. If you drive a Ford, here's Mike Dubusky.
Ford is now ordering owners of several popular cars and trucks, including the Mustang, Fusion, and Ranger, not to drive their cars and to visit a dealer immediately. It goes back to a faulty airbag inflator made by the company Takata that could throw dangerous shrapnel around the car if the airbag goes off. Ford has already issued several recalls related to this. The do not drive order only applies to those who have still not had their vehicle fixed.
Certain Mercury and Lincoln vehicles affected by the do not drive order as well. Takata airbag explosions have killed 27 people in the U.S., according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Middle East tension. U.S. and Israeli officials on alert for what U.S. officials think will be an attack on Israel by Iran as soon as Thursday. And now Jordana Miller reports another potential blow for the families of Israeli hostages. Hamas admitting they killed a hostage and injured others.
Hamas says its guards killed one male Israeli hostage and in a separate incident seriously injured 2 female hostages. The terror group holding over 100 hostages in Gaza, including 8 Americans, blaming Israel for the deadly violence. Israel says it is investigating the claims, which right now it cannot refute nor confirm. Some here accusing Hamas of spreading disinformation to manipulate the upcoming Gaza ceasefire talks in Doha Thursday. Hamas says it will not attend those talks.
Election 2024, Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign says she'll lay out her first major policy proposal during a campaign stop on Friday in North Carolina. The campaign says Harris will detail how she plans to bring down prices by taking on what they call corporate price gouging. This will be her first policy rollout since jumping into the race a month ago. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on Air. You can follow us at 99.7 WTN. Listen to us anywhere with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, our own app, 99.7 WTN in your app store. All free. You can watch us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Super Talk TV, up and running. The spin is in on CNN. The little chyron on the bottom says, Trump touting the views on his Elon interview. Some advisors question it. Question what? Reaching the American people? I wonder if Kamala's advisors are questioning things in the same kind of way. You know, maybe they question how she's just stealing Trump's ideas, like taxes on tips, which is just mind-blowing that she did that. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about it yesterday, bringing up the question that we've all brought up. You promise all these things, Kamala, but you're in power now. So would Biden sign a bill to eliminate tax on tips?
Over the weekend, Vice President said she would, she followed former President Donald Trump in saying she would support a proposal that would not tax tip wages. If similar bill made its way to the President of the United States, President Biden, would he sign that? Or is that something he's embraced before?
Oh, absolutely. Look, this is something that the president supports. He supports eliminating taxes on tips.
Oh, then where was he the last 3.5 years? I'll wait for your response, KJP. Oh, yeah, that's right. They were funding IRS to the tune of billions to go after tipped workers. It's a hot take from the Harris-Biden regime. Oh, yeah, he would support it. He would support it. Okay, cool. One reporter said, Trump did it first. Harris stole it. Essentially, what are your thoughts?
Trump was the first to endorse eliminating taxes on tips. He's accusing Vice President Harris of stealing his idea. So did she get this idea from Trump?
Did you hear the little condescending laugh underneath there? He's accusing her of stealing his idea, and Karine Jean-Pierre goes, ha, 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 ha.
He's accusing Vice President Harris of stealing his idea. So did she get this idea from Trump?
Yes.
Look, I'm not going to respond to a presidential candidate. I think their campaign could speak to that directly.
Translation, yes, obviously, absolutely. She stole the idea from Trump, and she did it in Nevada, where Trump originally unveiled that plan. Yeah, she stole the idea.
What I can say is this president, this vice president have always had the backs of the working people, always.
Explain that to me. Coming after Venmo transactions, funding the IRS, the inflation, the interest rates, always had the back of the American working people. I hope somebody fact checks that.
And you see that in the policies that they put forward.
Like the IRS funding.
Everything that we have put forward, historic pieces of legislation that are obviously now laws, are helping middle-class workers, are helping people in different communities that are normally, again, left behind.
Normally left behind. The gaslighting from the regime is at an all-time high. And it's not just Karine Jean-Pierre. I mentioned this earlier. It's worth noting again. CBS has two tweets out. One from June 17th, when this plan was originally unveiled from Trump, and one from August 12th, when Kamala Harris pulled one of the greatest jack moves of all time and stole the idea from Donald Trump. First, I'll read you the tweet from CBS regarding Vice President Harris. It says, Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. All right. It's just kind of just the headline, nothing overly exciting. But when you read the Trump headline, you can tell how much they hate Orange Man, because the CBS headline on Trump, when he unveiled that plan, said, former President Donald Trump's vow to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group. CBS News. It's always good when the Democrats do it, right? Always bad when Trump does it. Always. So then, KJP, she touts that they're doing everything they can for working class families and the middle class. But somebody said, can you explain then how Harris came to this policy?
This is one of the first specific policy endorsements that we've heard from the vice president. Is there anything you can explain about kind of how she came to this endorsement and how she'll address the criticism?
That was said in a campaign context, so I would have to refer you to the campaign.
I can't say anything from the podium because it's going to make Kamala Harris look worse than she looks. So please ask the campaign. I know that they're not giving comments or interviews, and they do give the press corps for Kamala Harris briefings off the record, but, you're going to have to talk to them.
I'm sure they can speak more to that. It is not unusual, right, when a campaign moves forward that they have they put forth their policy agenda for the American people to see for themselves.
No, that's not unusual. What's unusual is that there's no policies on the Harris-Walz campaign website. That's a little unusual. It's unusual that the only other policy that we've really heard from Kamala Harris is this one about shutting down detention facilities at the border while she promises to also make the border more secure.
Would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
I mean, that's what we hear from Kamala Harris. Interesting. So the question then becomes, okay, if Biden supports this, if Harris supports this, why haven't you done it in the last 3.5 years?
I want to try one more time on the taxes on tips. So why then have the president and vice president not talked about this over the past 3.5 years?
So again, the president supports eliminating taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. And at the same time, what this president and this vice president has been able to do is help raising minimum wage. There are things that the president and this vice president has done over the 3.5 years that has helped hardworking people.
Please explain. You say that they've raised minimum wage, and my mind goes to California where they raised the fast food minimum wage to $20, and then all those fast food restaurants had to close because they couldn't afford to stay in business.
Obviously.
Thank you. But they've done so much. You know it. Check your bank statement. That's because of Biden and Harris. So Harris wants to own the successes of the Biden administration. I'm still trying to figure out what those are, but a reporter asked if she's going to own the successes, does she also own the failures?
So you said the vice president owns the successes of this president of the past 3.5 years. Does she also own the struggles that this president has seen, like the prices up 19% since the month they came into office?
They're partners in how they've been able to turn around the economy.
Again, a little bit more context, a little bit more in-depth on how they've turned around the economy would be nice. From my vantage point, prices are up astronomically. Astronomically. Insurance rates in the first half of 2024 for your car, up 15%. Only 1 in 4, according to a Financial Times poll, only 1 in 4 think the economy is excellent or good. 59% of Americans believe we're in a recession, according to a Nolte poll. How did you turn the economy around? And how are you helping families in America? J.D. Vance, on the other hand, wants to increase the child tax credit from $2,000 to $5,000. That would help families immediately. We don't get any of that from the Biden administration. In fact, Harris thinks it's actually a better idea to not have kids because of climate change. So, how are you turning around the economy? Asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. It's all gaslighting with these people. Gaslighting and just straight up lies. So Harris doesn't own the successes. She doesn't own the failures. They asked, will she come to the briefing room to speak to the press ever?
As a member of the administration, can we expect the vice president to come out here and speak to the American people in the briefing room at some point?
The president and the vice president speaks to the American people regularly, and that's where I'll leave that.
Oh, okay. So that's a long way to say no. No, she won't be coming here to address the American people or the reporters. She's not giving any interviews. She won't even give interviews to puff pieces and softballs for Time magazine. Elon Musk offered her an opportunity to come on an X Space with him, and that's not going to happen. What she will do is try and pay TikTok influencers and make them sign an NDA to say nice things about her. What she will do is pay people to attend her rallies, $225. She'll do that. She'll have the Secret Service call Kai Cenat, a popular live streamer, over and over and over again to get on a live stream with them. She'll do stuff like that. But she's not going to answer any questions because her strength is in the teleprompter. So, good question. Good question. Another good question that happened was during the press briefing yesterday. What does Joe Biden view as Vice President Harris's biggest achievement? What is he most proud of?
What does the president see as the vice president's biggest achievement during their time in office together?
So look, because they've been partners, those achievements have been done, certainly those historic, unprecedented achievements have been done together. I'll say this, the president believes in the vice president leadership, her temperament, her experience.
You know who doesn't believe in her temperament? The 92% of her staff that has quit while working for her. The 92% of staff turnover. The staff that says they had to not look her in the eyes when she walked into a room and had to greet her with "Good morning, General." The president likes that temperament. Okay, it's a hot take.
I'll say this, the president believes in the vice president leadership, her temperament, her experience, and he has said this himself. One of the proudest decisions that he made in 2020 was selecting her as vice president because he believed that she can go on day one.
Yeah, she can go on day one. She could go home and we wouldn't miss her at all. I will say this, 1782 on the text line to actually pointed me in the right direction. 1782 said, Chris, they did turn the economy around. It was headed in the right direction with Trump, and they turned around and headed in the opposite direction. So, sorry for the misinformation.
And you've seen them do that together on day one.
Yeah, we have.
Of this administration. That doesn't change. I'm not going to parse out anything from here. They have been partners. She's been a critical partner for this president for during this term and will continue to do so. You will see them together on Thursday in Maryland, where they would talk about their next announcement on lowering costs for the American people.
Okay, so she doesn't actually have any achievements to parse out per se. But all the historic, unprecedented achievements that we're having a hard time coming up with here, they did together. Okay. Is everybody up to speed on that? The achievements are so historic and so unprecedented that it's hard to pick just one. So she'll just leave that. She'll leave that there. Thanks, Karine. Thanks, Karine. One of the questions I was asked, and I think that this does need to be brought up more, was did Harris support the withdrawal of Afghanistan? And with the short-term goldfish memory of voters in America, we do need to bring up Afghanistan and the catastrophic withdrawal that cost 13 service members their lives at the hands of Biden-Harris more, because I don't think it's brought up enough. So the question was asked, did Harris support the withdrawal of Afghanistan?
The president has said that she was the last person in the room with President Biden ahead of his decision to order U.S. troops to pull out of Afghanistan. Was the vice president in full support of his decision to order that withdrawal and in full support of the way that it was implemented?
I mean, she answered that question herself. I don't have anything else to add. It sounds like she answered the question herself.
Karine Jean-Pierre is terrible at her job. She has no pre-prepared spin for this. Not one thing ready to go.
Right.
She said that she was in the room previously.
But didn't you also said she was in support?
I'm asking you if the president believes that the vice president was in full support of his decision.
I believe, and as you have seen them in the past 3.5 years, they've been partners, critical partners. It doesn't matter if it's domestic issues, also foreign policy issues, and that has been the case from day one and continues to be the case.
You know, when I listen to Karine Jean-Pierre, I hear someone that is just deflated. She doesn't have any wind behind her sails. I think she understands that she's lying to the American people, and I think that it's exhausting for her to keep up with these lies. She did say something, though, about Thursday. Biden and Harris are going to be together for a historic announcement. Looking forward to that. Also, we got the DNC on deck next week. I'm hearing who they're having lining up for speakers. They got some big ones. I don't know why they chose some of these people. I'll tell you what the lineup is rumored to be on the way. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Ford has issued a do not drive order. Details at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, tentative schedule for DNC speakers. Are you excited for this? Does anybody? I don't feel the excitement behind the DNC the same way I felt it behind the RNC. I'm gonna be watching because I'm a glutton for punishment. But it's it's got all the regular losers. So Monday, it's going to be Hillary Clinton.
Please never refer to her
as Hilldog?
As Hilldog ever again.
Why not?
She doesn't deserve a cool nickname.
Well, that's a throwback to a South Park episode back in the day.
That. You know what? That's fair.
It's a callback. Fair. It's a callback. So Hilldog is on Monday. Now I have to do it for you. Also, the resident in chief, Joe Biden, will be on Monday as well.
If he can make it up the stairs.
Do you think that they're going to have to juice him up for the DNC?
Oh, 100%. There's no way that he can actually function properly through it.
Dude, he's already headed to Camp David to practice.
Oh my God!
Oh,
and have you seen him? Have you seen him on the beach? I love that. I missed it at first. He's headed to Camp David to practice. Classic. I hope that some of the internet rumors are true. That he throws a monkey wrench into this thing on Monday and says, "You know what?
I'm taking it back."
Have you seen those internet rumors?
No, I haven't. But that would be amazing.
I better look out. It could be an actual monkey wrench.
It could. I hope that. So Monday, currently, Hilldog and Average Joe. Okay. Tuesday is going to be Obama. Not Mike, but Barack.
Okay.
So Barack is on Tuesday. Wednesday is when I'm like, what are you guys thinking? Wednesday, you're going to have waltz, which is customary, right? You have the VP go the night before the big dance. But they're also going to have President Bill Clinton on Wednesday.
Well,
why? I don't know. I don't know why they keep bringing this guy out. I understand Hillary, but after all the Epstein stuff with Bill Clinton, why would you want to tie him to your party? After all the flight logs, all the accusations, all the leaks that we've seen in the past year, why would you bring Bill Clinton out?
I mean, I think it's just to show their true colors.
Honestly.
He's in the same circles, so might as well.
The party of weirdos and pedos, I guess.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton is going to be out there on Wednesday, as well as Stolen Valor Waltz. And then Thursday is going to be Kamala Harris.
Just by herself. No setup. Just
walk her out there. She won't be by herself. She'll have her trusty teleprompter.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the DNC. I'm looking forward to the protest that could be happening there. Savannah Hernandez, friend of the show, she's torn on whether or not she wants to go.
I don't blame her.
She posted on Twitter. She said, should I go to Chicago to report on the migrant crisis created by the border czar, Kamala Harris, before she arrives at the DNC next week? Do you think they're going to have to clean up all the illegal aliens in Chicago before the DNC shows up? They usually do it before Democrats go anywhere of consequence.
Yeah, kick all the rich people out of their hotels so that they can put migrants in there so that way Kamala has a clean hotel room for where she wants to stay.
Honestly. And then Peter Doocy asked the question yesterday during the press briefing, how long has Harris not been proud of the job Biden has done at the border?
How long have you guys known that Vice President Harris does not think President Biden is doing a good job at the border?
Wait, say that one more time?
Well, she's now promising to hire thousands more border agents than there are now under President Biden.
Wait, but start your question again.
Well, he's saying that Harris is saying that she'll fix the border day one and hire more border agents, mind you, for processing, not for deportations. But how long has this been going on?
How long have you guys known that Vice President Harris does not think that President Biden is effective with his border policy?
I mean, that you're making a huge jump. Why? She did not say this. This is something that you are assuming. I don't understand why you would assume that. It's not true.
She has a campaign ad where she is saying they need more Border Patrol agents. If President Biden's doing such a good job, why do they need any more border agents?
We both believe that. The president does want more Border Patrol agents. You know who's getting in the way? Republicans in Congress.
Okay. It's always Republicans, guys. It has nothing to do with the people that have been in power for the last 3.5 years. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're tracking the potential for rain by the end of the week. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Faulty Takata airbags continue impact drivers. Now people who drive Ford products. Mike Dabosky has more.
Certain older models of the Ford Fusion, Mustang, Edge, and Ranger are now under a do not drive order. Ford issued the order to drivers who still haven't gotten their Takata airbag inflators fixed under recall. Those inflators were found to be faulty and could throw dangerous shrapnel around the car if the airbag goes off.
Now, certain Mercury and Lincoln vehicles are affected by the do not drive order as well. Money news, the July wholesale inflation figures released by the Labor Department this morning show the smallest increase since March. The price increases for items before they get to store shelves showed a 2.2% rise. Tomorrow, the Labor Department releases the most well-known inflation measure, the Consumer Price Index. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. It's 11:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know me. I'm always talking about my friends at the Glock store. We talk a lot about the Glock store. The best place to buy a Glock, they have every Glock in stock. The best place to learn, every session is a private lesson at the Glock store. It's the best place to shoot. They have private rooms, not public lanes, but it's also the best place to compete. And now it's the best place to party. You know, there ain't no party like a Glock store party, or so I've been told. And at the Glock store, it is now your perfect place for all sorts of celebrations, birthdays, retirements, corporate team buildings. Maybe you're going to want to celebrate after Trump wins the election. These parties are the best place to do it. They include a VIP room with a full kitchen, dedicated shooting rooms with instructors, and shooting activities designed for every level. And they include all the ammo, including full auto options. If you're looking for a cool place to throw a party that is not something that you've done before, do it at the Glock store. To get your party started, email them today, party@glockstore.com. That's party@glockstore.com. Include the time, the day, the number of people, and they'll get right back to you with a great party plan that is tailored to your event. It's the Glock store, my place to shoot, everyone's place to party, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We were talking a moment ago about how much of a joke the DNC is shaping up to be. You got Average Joe and Hill Dog on Monday. If Obama on Tuesday. Bill Clinton, the Lolita Express extraordinaire on Wednesday. Waltz on Wednesday. Kamala Harris on Thursday. So it's shaping up to be a great event. And they're only allowing in friendly coverage, which is crazy. It's crazy. During the RNC, every major press outlet in the world was given credentials. CNN was there. MSNBC pretended to be there. They were in front of a green screen. Remember that? But I actually have a lot of friends that have applied for press credentials. A lot of Turning Point friends that have applied for press credentials. And the DNC said, sorry, we're unable to allocate credentials for Turning Point at this time. What? You don't want people there that don't share your view? No. It's they want echo chamber only, which is just, it really exposes the Democrats. They only want you getting your information from mainstream media. They don't want an interview with Donald Trump on Twitter. They don't want opposing voices at their convention. They only want friendlies. At Kamala Harris rallies, they only want people to show up by invitation only. In many cases, they're paid to be there. And you need to bring an ID if you're going to show up to a Kamala Harris rally. Make sure you're on the list, but they don't need an ID to vote. That's racist. Are you keeping score at home? The DNC is limiting ideas and speech. They don't want anyone. They don't want anyone there that is going to provide an opposing view. Slime balls. I wonder if they're going to let their own voters in. You know, there's an NBC report, Black voters in Philadelphia discussing key issues ahead of the 2024 presidential race. And the way these people are talking, I don't think the DNC would let them into the convention next week.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
What do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps.
Amen.
Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children, and I don't, but I have to go work.
You know, with opinions like that, the DNC wouldn't let you in. You're seeming a little radical, you know, a little alt-right these days, Black voters in Philadelphia, by just observing things and noticing things. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah, you wouldn't be allowed in with that kind of viewpoint. And a lot of people feel this way. I don't believe the momentum behind Kamala Harris. I don't even believe that they're running a great campaign. Breitbart has a story that there's a lot of friction and anxiety and dysfunction inside the Harris campaign. Breitbart has an article today. The Harris campaign spiraled into a power struggle in recent weeks, with factions competing for influence and control. 6 people, including aides familiar with the dynamics, told Politico's Christopher Cadelgo on Monday. The report described the campaign as rife with friction, internal tensions, anxiety, raw emotions, bad-mouthing, grumbling that mirror the dysfunction that plagued Harris's Senate and vice presidential offices. You know, those offices where she had 92% staff turnover. The competing factions reportedly consist of former Biden staffers and new Harris aides who don't agree on how to overhaul the campaign's power structure to prevent former President Trump from completing the greatest political comeback in American history. They go on to report that in recent weeks, the campaign has hired several former Obama staffers to help run it. But those staffers, including David Plouffe, Obama's former campaign manager, are not jiving with Jen O'Malley Dillon, the former Biden White House official and Harris campaign chair, according to Politico. They say that there is no doubt when you have 2,000 people and you're changing who is at the top of the ticket, that it's going to take a minute to make sure that everyone is seated well, and we still have some work to do on that, O'Malley Dillon admitted to Politico. The power struggle within Harris's 2024 campaign, Breitbart reports, is similar to the turmoil within her Senate and vice presidential offices. Anxiety inside the campaign could still dissipate over the 3-month sprint to November, but aides also fear that they could grow in scope and significance and lead to trouble down the chain of command. I agree that the problems are going to grow in scope, especially come September 10th, when Americans are forced to see you side by side Donald Trump in a debate. I think things are going to change drastically. The report from Politico says Harris built a chaotic operation in her 2020 presidential primary campaign that she allowed to fester, causing bottlenecks and radiating dysfunction across her organization. And in the first 2 years of her vice presidency, she also saw several staff departures, which is a nice way to say 92%, and internal fissures that reinforced the idea she couldn't properly assemble and lead a harmonious team. And we've seen these reports constantly. Don't look Kamala in her eyes when she walks in the room, an intern was told. Say good morning, General. Just strange. But Harris and her staff have worked to overcome all the old drama, and curtailed 2024 campaign is the latest test of whether she could keep it up. A handful of people in Harris's circle told Politico that they worry that the unfolding tension among the campaign staffers will splash back on the vice president, and argue that it's unfortunate and unfair given the strides she's made in recent years to build a cohesive and loyal unit. But some Harris loyalists have picked up on former Biden aides grumbling under their breath and now having to work for her. And there's considerable ire directed at the top digital strategist, Rob Flaherty, whose title includes deputy campaign manager. A lot of anxiety, a lot of dysfunction within the Harris campaign, but we're told that the momentum is on her side. We're told that she is winning. I don't believe it. One leak purported incident of friction occurred due to the differences of opinion about the degree of diversity in a campaign video. They're arguing about their own diversity. In the end, the infighting was allegedly so great that the video had to be outsourced to the Democrat National Committee for completion. They can't even finish a video. The Harris campaign did deny the incident, but who do you believe? Another suggested that Biden turned Harris spokesperson TJ Ducklo continually badmouths Harris. The campaign denied that report. Then Ducklo resigned from the administration in 2021 after verbally abusing a female reporter on the phone. That was reported in great length during that time. But the Harris campaign is not as cohesive as they make it out to be. And her only policy positions are jacked from the Trump campaign. No original ideas, no original thoughts. No interviews, no press briefings, no questions, please. I mean, after the press briefing yesterday, it was hilarious because all they brought up was the tax on tips. And after that press briefing, Peter Doocy was on Fox News and had this to say.
The big news maybe at this White House briefing today is that President Biden now supports the no taxes on tips proposal. That comes after Kamala Harris said that she supports the no taxes on tips proposal, which came after Donald Trump said that he supports the no taxes on tips proposal.
It's chaos at all levels in the Harris campaign.
And White House officials say that President Biden is still the leader of the party for now.
Does anybody believe that?
But with this big reveal, it's unclear why, if this is something that he supports, we didn't hear about it in 3.5 years of talking to you from the North Lawn with him in the West Wing, Neil.
I think you can say that about anything when it comes to Biden and Harris. All of these promises that she's making as the vice president, you've had 3.5 years to do. You're going to make things better for working class families. You've had 3.5 years. You're going to fix the border. You've had 3.5 years. You're going to get the hostages back, the American hostages, and you're going to support Israel in the war against Hamas. Well, you've had almost a year for that. Neil Cavuto may have had the best question ever for Peter Doocy, though, immediately following that.
What does the president do all day?
What does the president do all day? That is the question. What does he do? Well, he spends a lot of time on the beach.
What does the president do all day?
That's a great question. Whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's a lame duck presidency. He's not going to get anything done in these next 5 months.
Because he's the president?
Okay.
We understand it's lately a lot less publicly. It's a lot of calls and a lot of meetings away from cameras. There is going to be an event tomorrow in New Orleans about the cancer moonshot. Thursday, there's going to be something about lowering prices. They're getting to the legacy stuff, the things that he wants to do to cement his legacy. It is extremely unlikely that he's going to get any big legislation through. And so we're not seeing him with hosting meetings with influential Democratic lawmakers, particularly because the most influential ones, we're now learning, are the ones who are squeezing him out behind closed doors.
Yeah, the ones that can get stuff done squeezed him out. Also, who wants to waste their time with a lame duck presidency? Also, if he's going to have an event today about the cancer moonshot, didn't we just have reports yesterday that cancer rates are exploding? It's wild. Dysfunction in the Harris campaign, lame duck sitting in the West Wing. This is what we have currently in America, and they don't want you to hear from Donald Trump, as evident by every single mainstream media news source today calling the interview with Elon Musk rambling, incoherent, and slurred speech, while not focusing on any of the content of what was said. We'll talk to Matt Murphy about it next. He's in the building. I see him walking around. I'm sure he's got some takes on the Elon Musk Donald Trump interview. I saw him on Twitter last night. He was watching it as well. Can't wait to hear what he thinks. He's up next. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
$11:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, joined in the studio by Matt Murphy. What's up, Matt?
Hello, Mr. Hand. How are you?
I'm good.
My drive-in was great, by the way.
Was it?
For anybody that wanted to know.
Did you hear? So I had to deal with traffic this morning, but the guy that I passed, Ricky, he listens to us. The guy that got rear-ended that caused my traffic issue, Ricky was listening.
Poor Ricky.
And he said...
did he apologize?
He apologized. I said, no, don't apologize.
No, you're having a bad day. I had a thing. I get the road. My grandpa called it road rage for some reason. I don't know why. I never found out why. God love you, Paul. I'll find out one of these days. But he called it... you hear about that woman had the road rage? I don't know. So I get the road rage often. I never act on it. Have you ever had this moment where someone in front of you is acting like such an idiot you want them in your life? Like you want to make them a part? Like you want to...
No.
Like there was this idiot that was on the loop going 35 miles an hour, and I had to follow him because there's a truck in the other lane. And then they get off onto Bunbury, and then they almost go to the other lane, and then they go back to my lane, and then they turn. And I'm like, I want to follow you just to keep you in my life for a little while longer, just to hate you. Just to hate you.
I feel sometimes I feel that that Boston in me coming back, where like that anger festers up, because I for many years I would get very angry driving, and now instead of flipping the bird, I passive aggressively give them a thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean you can't flip the bird anymore.
I don't,
because you don't know how they're going to escalate it.
No.
And I don't need gunplay, but I do this. Has anyone noticed how far back some people keep their cars? Like when we're in a line of cars, we're going to turn left, and they've got like a car and a half car length in front of them. It infuriates me because the world isn't just you. I mean, there are other people behind you that are trying to be in this turn lane, and you're clogging up through traffic because they can't get in the turn lane because you got a car and a half in front of you of space. For those people, I pull up within like an inch of their bumper and dare them to say something.
I believe in the buffer.
You believe in the car and a half buffer?
Not a car and a half, but yeah, half a car buffer.
What are you doing with that?
I'm just
what do you think's going to happen?
Well, when I'm looking at Twitter, I don't want to rear end somebody.
That's legit.
You got to have the buffer. You got to have the buffer.
That's legit. I mean, I understand the buffer, but I mean, you can take it to extremes. If I can fit my car or a car between the space between you and the car in front of you, that's too much space.
Well, your truck is massive. You needed
any car. If you can fit a little Mitsubishi in between your car and the car in front of you.
I give myself a smart car kind of a buffer.
That's too much space.
The little Italian Fiat.
I'll give you half a smart car. That's all. A 3/4 smart car.
All right.
3/4 smart car.
We're solving the world's problems, and we haven't even gotten to politics.
Man, oh man. You watched that thing last night?
I did.
Listen?
I did.
It was weird only being able to listen. Someone compared it to old school, like, radio. Which is true.
Everything that's old is new again, my friends.
Everyone's gathering around their quote-unquote radio.
We are on the cutting edge of technology.
I mean, yeah, we'll be new again before you know it.
100%.
I loved it.
What's your hottest take from the fireside chat?
They're talkers, those two. I mean, it was a little long, but, I get it. I understand. I say it's a little long. I'm about to embark on a 3-hour conversation with the people, but whatever. No, I mean, Donald Trump's a real human being. Donald Trump believes in the United States of America. Elon Musk believes in the United States of America. It demonstrates that Donald Trump can disagree with certain aspects of someone's personality and still be friendly with them and friends with them, something that the liberals tell us that he cannot do or abide by, because he's obviously in disagreement with Elon on certain things. I loved it. I think hopefully people listen with an open mind and an open ear, and they learn some things about Donald Trump.
I'm with you. Matt Murphy's in next. He's going to break it all down for you, plus have the more hot takes. You bring in more hot. Why do you throw a pen?
I don't know.
If you're
because
watching on
Bell,
Super Talk
Bell was
TV,
giving me a look.
He was giving you a look, so you threw a pen?
Yeah, I'll throw it. You want me to throw it at the camera? Can I throw it at the camera? Here. So is the camera on? Ready? Is the camera not on?
Nope, it's not on. Sorry. What
are you talking about? This camera?
Yeah.
Throw it at that camera?
Yep.
Can I throw it at that camera?
And he missed. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.